show, folks. Another edition of PodCRASH with me. And this week's episode, I always say, oh, it's a very special episode of PodCRASH. I don't know if this is special, but I will say this. It's definitely the most awkward episode of PodCRASH. I appeared on a podcast called Tower of Sour, hosted by Mike Sands and Mike Marlowe. And the conversation, it was interesting at points, but awkward at most of the points. We're going to get to that later. First of all, I need to tell you that I really appreciate you listening to this show every week. I have to thank you for that. And I've received letters. This is not an email, although I do get emails. You can email me through my website at chrisgore.com. Just click on the contact. That goes right to me. But I'm actually been getting some physical letters in the mail because anyone who's been listening to the show a long time, you know that if you listen to the very end of the show, even after you think the show's over, you're listening and you're like, oh, you think the show's over? And you're like, no, there's kind of an Easter egg. I've given it away now, but only to those who listen to this episode. I'm at the very end of the show. There's kind of a little Easter egg that will give you a little, sometimes it's a bonus feature. Sometimes it's, a contest or a giveaway. And I give up my address at the end of the show. And I've received some really interesting letters lately and gifts. I mean, Sam sent me this Batman encyclopedia that is amazing. It's an old Batman encyclopedia book like from the 60s, kind of everything they knew about Batman up to that point, and it's amazing. And Sam says, writes this letter of praise and tells me about this Batman encyclopedia that's incredible. I can't thank him enough. And he says, we do live in one of the most visited tourist towns in America, Pigeon Forge, Gaithersburg. Where is that? He says to Google it. If you're ever in these parts, drop a line. Thanks, Sam. I actually will do that. And then this girl Jenna actually sent me a Batman belt buckle. I think you guys do know I do like Batman, but who doesn't? I mean, but I liked him before it was cool, and I don't know. When was Batman not cool? And Jenna sends me a Batman belt buckle and says she likes Asian Underground and which is on Attack of the Show. And I'm like you with the weird movies and the collections. I have over 1,000 DVDs and rare VHSs. Believe me, we could talk about movies for hours. I know I could talk about movies for hours. I'm sure if I ever meet Jenna, we will speak on and on into the night. I usually lose my voice. I'm still suffering from convention voice because I got back from WonderCon, which thank you to everyone who showed up for my panel, Wild Cartoon Kingdom. It was a huge success, and a lot of people showed up and got a glimpse of these animated projects I'm working on, and the feedback I got was great, really helpful, especially since I'm still in the midst of the process. So thank you to everyone from WonderCon. It explains my convention voice. It always comes from, I love to get into conversations about movies. I love to talk to other geeks of whatever, it's geeking out about everything from cosplay to Batman, Doctor Who, collectibles. I could go on, and I often do, and my voice is the thing that suffers at those things. I usually need a few days to recover. In any case, also here it is, another letter from Brian Gates. Just finished listening to your podcast for the first time. I started with episode 8, in which you crashed Spooky Hour Horror Hour. Thought the show was very entertaining and added it as subscribe show on my phone. That bump in the Zune Marketplace downloads, yeah, that's me. I refuse to apologize for loving my WP 7.5 device. No apologies. You like stuff like that? Hey, that's fine, Brian. That's cool. I like to collect old tech. I have an old Fairchild game system. Yeah, I know. No one even knows what that is. But he goes on today. Brian goes on to say, I found it amusing that you were crashing a show on AGR, a network owned by Scott Rubin, creator of G4, who also discovered Kevin and put him in front of the camera. My favorite show on TV, AOTS, would not be the same if it weren't for Scott. And then he goes on, anywho, you said to send a self-addressed stamped envelope. Yes, you should. If you send a self-addressed stamped envelope, I'll actually send something back in return. Normally, it'll just be like a cute little card, and I keep all of I have these little cards that I write notes on when I do DVDs and Attack of the Show. If you send me a self-addressed stamp envelope, I will return one of the cards that I used on the show. It has scribblings on it and notes, but it's kind of cool. It's, it's something that was used on the program, and I would never charge for something like that. I would give it away, and it costs you basically 2 postage stamps. So he goes on, please crash DPL Nerdist Girl on Guy Electric Istahood. I've never Electric Sisterhood. Electric Sisterhood. Okay, now I get it. And the Joe Rogan Experience. I've listened to a couple of those, and I like them. I don't know. I think it's up to them. I first started doing this show. I didn't know if I was really concerned about the fact that I'd be crashing these shows and then using the audio on my show. And I always wondered, would people give me the rights to use their audio on my podcast? You're really granting me the rights. So I was concerned. And when the first few episodes came out, first of all, I was worried that there might be some sort of legal repercussion, even though I knew all the people, I knew all the people from those shows. I thought, I don't know, are they going to be pissed off? Is there going to be something with the music? Will there be an issue? So I put out a call right away. Hey, are there any podcasts out there that would like me to be on their show and like their show to be crashed? And I said yes to everybody. I said yes to everybody initially, which may have been a bad idea. May have been a bad idea in retrospect. Now, before I explain why it may have been a bad idea, I need to let you know that I'm doing this podcast for free, but you can support it and help me out by checking out this short film I made called Red. It's about the infamous 2 bar tapes and this bartender, Red, who's tortured by prank phone calls. Is Al the alcoholic? Is there an alcoholic here? You can get Red now on DVD. It's loaded with extras, including behind-the-scenes commentary, even a drunk commentary, actually. I think a drunk commentary is always exciting and very revealing, actually, kind of like this podcast. You can go to Etsy.com, that's ETSY.com, search for Red DVD, and if you enter the offer code PodCRASH, you get 50% off. 50% off, good deal. I've got 1 box of these DVDs left. So order your copy of Red on DVD at Etsy.com today. I'll send it to you. It's pretty cool. Now, why was it a bad idea for me to sort of throw out to the world, I'll crash any podcast? Because a lot of podcasts responded. And my producer, Sean Merrick, it's sort of his job to vet some of these podcasts. I mean, there were ones that I definitely would love to be on and familiar with, but in the interest of actually having content for the show, I've had to go on some podcasts that I haven't actually heard. Tower of Sour was one of those. And to say that the experience of being on the show Tower of Sour was awkward might be an understatement. I really didn't know Mike Sands or Mike Marlowe before I went on the show, but I knew them via the internet, which is pretty much how we know everybody these days, right? I know so many people that I know online that I've never met. I feel like I have as many friends and people I know in my life that I know in person as I know only online. So here's people I've never physically met. I know them online. And then a whole another group of people that I actually do know physically. And then I communicate with a lot of them online also. So it's kind of weird how we've changed our habits and whatnot. But Tower of Sour was one of those. I just said yes to everything right at the beginning without any sort of proper vetting. How long the podcast has been on, what kind of experience the people doing the podcast have, what the subject matter is. Although I prefer and I like the subject matter to be completely different because it just affords me an opportunity to discuss anything. Well, Mike Sands and Mike Marlowe do this show, and I hadn't heard it. And I wasn't exactly sure what I was in for. So they happen to know, they know about me though. I mean, they know about me. And they knew that I was into modding. And the beginning of their podcast, we have this conversation about, it's about making a homemade fleshlight. For those of you who have cost concerns when it comes to purchasing a fleshlight, something I've never used and or owned, or even considered purchasing. Although I guess when I was covering AAE for G4, I could have gotten a free one. I never took advantage of that. Maybe I should have done that. I don't own one, never tried one. That seems kind of weird to me. Not that I wouldn't be open to trying it. What the hell? But just never struck me as being a thought. In any case, we begin our conversation talking about creating a homemade fleshlight. It's all downhill from here, folks. I don't know what to say about this podcast appearance other than weird happens, and it definitely happens on Tower of Sour. It might be a good thing. It might be a bad thing. Listen for yourself. Stick it in your ears. And let me apologize in advance.
Yeah, so here's something somebody modded. Mike, why don't you go ahead and dictate to us the topic and then just start with the instructions.
I came across some forums, PB Nation. I don't even know what that stands for. It's a forum, and there's some goon on here that's like, he starts a thread, right? And it's make your own fleshlight, !
Because we all need to know how to do that.
Right. I mean, in a pinch, when
the apocalypse comes, we're gonna need a fucking portable pussy at the ready.
When FedEx isn't shipping you all your dildos and devices, within 2 days, you might need this. But I read it and I could not believe it, so I had to send it to Mike, and Mike saw it, equally shared in the humor, and it still exists. This is from 2006. This is vintage do-it-yourself. But I'm just gonna read it. Okay. Small talk is lonely and obsessed with flashlights, and right? And I'm bored, and all of my threads have sucked so far. So here we go. None of these items are individually bannable, so I'm hoping they aren't bannable combined as one. Materials: Lay's Stacks, the Stacks chips can. Like
you gotta get yourself a Lay's Stacks chip can to start this off.
Right.
Wait a second. I'm running to my kitchen right now. Stacks chips. Okay. Here we go.
You get the Stacks chips can, and he even gave a little footnote. My preference holds up better because Pringles potato chip cans are cardboard, not plastic.
Ew!
So he's been through many incarnations of this do-it-yourself fleshlight.
Because the cardboard one wilts away over time.
It's not dishwasher safe, among other things.
Oh God!
And your cum probably eats right through it if you're this guy. So that's object number one. Then you've got foam rubber. Just your standard issue foam rubber.
Just go grab some.
Third thing is
you can get all this stuff at Pep Boys. Trust me. And even the Stacks chips, although I don't recommend the sour.
Okay, so just to recap, we have a Lay's Stacks potato chip can, better than the Pringles can because it's plastic, not cardboard. We've got foam rubber, a condom, 1 1/4 inch O-ring. I guess maybe that will vary depending on the size of your cock. Scissors and a marker, and then that's just materials. Now he's got a procedure list. This is for the real do-it-yourselfers.
Okay, because I have my stuff right here. I'm ready to go. What do we do?
Okay, all right. So you empty the chips out of the can, or you eat them, whatever you prefer.
Oh,
don't waste those chips.
No.
Give them a homeless person.
I mean, you might need them afterwards for comfort food after you've nutted and realized you just ejaculated into a fucking chip can.
But the shame overtakes you.
But that is your preference and your preference alone. You can use whatever brand or flavor you prefer. Thank you for that. But we like the one shown here for the container's ergonomic shape and durable, colorful plastic. Yes.
Durable plastic.
But, I mean, yeah, and ergonomic. So lay the foam out and trim to fit the length of the container. The length of the foam can be up to a 1/2 inch longer than the length of the can. Okay. Unroll the condom and drop the O-ring inside. If you use a lubricated condom, turn it inside out first so that the lube is on the inner surface. I like this.
Oh, okay.
They've got pictures detailing every part of this too.
So I see what we're doing now. The foam rubber is the substance and the condom is the liner. Is that what's happening here?
Yes, it is. And then the O-ring is probably to keep the condom spaced out throughout. Okay, so lay the condom along the foam with the open end slightly above the edge and mark across where the O-ring lays in the condom. Cut the foam into 2 pieces along this line.
Okay, hold on.
So you're kind of cutting the foam around the condom so that you have this nice little, like, roll up, like fruit roll up that you fuck kind of thing. Then the next step is roll up the smaller piece of foam and push it into the bottom of the can. Lay the condom against the shorter edge of the other foam piece so that the tip and the O-ring are hanging over one end and the open top of the condom is hanging over the other. Roll up the foam with the condom inside. The O-ring should be flat against one end of the foam roll and blah. I don't know. This is dumb.
So now we have the condom sealed so it doesn't like store in your flesh.
And the tip of the condom is dangling outside of the foam so that there's somewhere for the end to go.
You basically just cut it off like a sausage leg.
Essentially. With the scissors, make a nick in the tip of the condom just enough so some air can get through. I imagine that's so there's not like an insane amount of suction on your dick when you're fucking your Pringles can.
Your Lay's can. The Pringles one folds under pressure.
Right. Okay. Insert the foam roll into the chip container, making sure the open end of the condom stays above the top of the foam. Leave about 1/2 inch of foam above the rim of the can. Use a nail or screwdriver to poke a small hole in the side of the can near the bottom. I guess that's for additional ventilation. And
additional ventilation.
This is the good shit right here. Optional. If desired, use a pink or red marker to draw a vagina or lips on the foam on the center hole before covering the foam with the condom. You're drawing fucking pink vagina onto foam that you stuffed in a Lay's can that you're about to fuck. Just in case you wanted realism to your ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted your fake fleshlight to be a little more real, you grab a pink marker and color your foam pink.
Oh, okay, so.
Woo! Okay, well, stop right there. First of all, I've never used a fleshlight, to be honest. I as compelling as they are, and I've seen them because I've covered AEE for G4 a number of times, and every time I see one, I'm thinking like, but where does the jizz go? Where does the jizz go? I don't. First of all, here. I got the perfect fleshlight for you guys. It doesn't involve any long-winded instructions. You don't have to draw anything pink or have any art skills. It's like it basically extend hand, use hand on penis. That is it. In the intro to the Tower of Sour podcast clips, it sounded like I might have been dissing these guys or disparaging their podcast. That's not really what I meant to say. I guess what I'm saying is I didn't really investigate this podcast, didn't realize what I was getting myself into. And I'm the type of guy that I love to make other people feel awkward. It's fun. It's not particularly a challenge for me anymore. I love doing it. So it's fun when you can do that as a guest. For these guys to get me on their podcast and actually make me squirm in my seat and feel awkward, I think that's a testament to their skills. Listening to this now, I really feel like, they got me. They got me. And if you continue listening, let's just say it gets worse, and it gets much, much worse. Can you say double vagina? You will after you hear this. And the thing is, there's enough cleanup to deal with when you just jerk off normally. You know what I mean?
It goes exactly where you think it does, man. It's like a spit valve on a trumpet or something.
Yeah,
after a while, it's gonna start to smell like.
Oh, of course.
You don't just leave it. You don't like sit it for a month and come back. No, you deal with this right away. You want to.
Shaker where you have to like put water in it and then shake it
up. You know what's so funny? I hate to say this. It's almost after all that. It's almost easier to deal with a chick.
Oh, absolutely.
It's almost easier to deal with a chick than a fake vagina. It's like
debatable.
Exactly.
Debatable because the date will be more expensive than that can of Pringles and that soft rubber foam.
And there's a lot of love that went into the creation of this thing. And for this dude to fucking write it all out, oh man. Oh.
Well,
and you're gonna get some at the end of the night with this can.
Exactly.
The can always puts out.
Yeah.
I just when I hear that, first of all, there were two things going through my head. One is just like I could think of a better way to do it. I would actually use different materials. You
say that, but this guy is clearly on a budget, A, and B, I don't really know what B is, but A, he's on a budget, so he's gone really, really low cost and debatably green on this because he chose plastic. He wants to recycle.
Green.
Oh my God.
He's going to use this more than once.
Oh
Yeah, but
God.
that's the thing that's why I've never, to me, the idea of a fleshlight is so uninteresting to me. It's that cleanup. And secondly, when I was at AE, they actually had, of course, they had fleshlights based on different girls. Which, what difference does it make?
Yeah, how can you? How do you even know? You can't confirm.
Are you ever going to verify that? Yeah, right.
No. They actually are. I mean, like those girls like endorse it, and they have their vaginas molded so it's accurate. Like that matters. But secondly, they had ones that were based on Alien. They had Alien fleshlights. They had ones like kind of based on Avatar with like blue, like it was a blue alien vagina.
It was a Navi puss?
Yeah, it was like a Navi puss.
That I could probably sign on to.
You're sitting there fucking that thing, you're like, I see you.
Yeah, I see you. I feel you.
I am you. Ugh. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But here's my question. If you made
let me read.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me read the wrap up. When stored with the lid on, the homemade flashlight, I don't know why I didn't call it fleshlight, can be conveniently camouflaged as an innocent can of potato chips.
not a naughty pocket pussy.
That's actually, to me, that would be an even better joke than those stupid spring-loaded snakes that come out of like a can of peanut brittle. It's like, no. Why did he say it'd be great if it was a peanut brittle can? It's like, oh, where are the snakes? No, I just stick my penis in there.
No, now you're gonna fuck this while I watch.
Yeah, what if he puts this back on the shelf with his other fucking snacks and he forgets about it and he has company over, let's say grandma, and she pulls it out and pops the top, thinking, once you pop, the fun can't stop, and the fun had clearly already stopped at the bottom of this can.
It can be concealed. First of all, who can actually resist about a Stax thing of chips? I mean, they're very Pringles-like.
Right.
I think actually it increases the chance that it would be that it would actually be discovered. I mean, look, the standard issue place for weird sex shit is, it's at the end table. You're gonna look for stuff. You're gonna find it in the end table or under the bed, next to the bed, whatever. This is where they always are. Let's just face it. But that thing, who can resist chips? Oh my God, it's such a bad.
Yeah, I mean, and imagine that conversation, that awkward. Oh, that's my thing I made. Don't worry about that.
Wait, you can weird it up. You could add it. You could mod it. You could take the label off and then put your favorite girl's picture on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, because on a Pringles can, there's a dude with a mustache. And that's pretty awkward to be.
Yeah,
fucking.
You're sitting there staring at it while you're looking down at this.
And he's upside down,
There's
as you can imagine.
The fucking Pringles man staring back up at you while you're fucking him.
I'd rather be jerking off to the fucking planners guy. God.
It's just a picture of some girl's back.
I mean, and anyway, he says it's like, conveniently camouflaged. Aren't fleshlights made to look like flashlights? And almost nobody just reaches for a flashlight incidentally, like, oh, let me play with this. It's not really something you go for. It's just there, and you're like, oh, cool. You're very survivalist. You have a flashlight.
So I got to ask you. So I got to ask you guys. Since I was very personal, have you ever used an actual flashlight?
No, I've never used a sex toy for men before. I don't know how you could properly have one for dudes. I don't know.
I couldn't either. I don't know. Maybe it's because I lived at home for too long.
Yeah, I'm very sheltered. I don't know the good stuff.
You know what I think it is actually our hands are just too good.
Yeah, it's flesh.
Yeah, I know my own needs and wants and touches and spots, and I get it done. I don't need to. By the time I built a fucking Pringles fleshlight, I could already handle the business twice.
Yeah, multiple times. Yeah, and my fucking hand wasn't fucking probably made in some weird factory by some person. Like, that just makes it so strange. Like, that shit was sent to my home for the explicit purpose of fucking. I don't know.
You know what the best part of this thread is? The second post in it. Like, let's see. Like,
wait. Hold on.
Less than 1 minute later is thread of the year right here.
Thread of the year.
That's it.
I remember that comment. Thread of the year. This dude saw it, was like, crowning it now. Thread of the year right here.
I mean, like, seriously. Thread of the year right here. Right now.
Oh
and this
God.
guy's been a member for years. I'm older. I know about forums. These guys are on 2002, 2003 members. They're still following a forum 4 and 5 years later about do it yourself fleshlights. Really?
Oh, I love it. Well, that was great. One last question before we round it
So
up.
if anybody's wondering,
what would you put on your fleshlight? What's the image? Would you go lips, ass, or pussy?
I don't know what you guys. I'd probably just go standard issue. Go vagina.
Yeah.
I think I go one of each.
One of each.
I mean, because once you make the first one, it's probably not as good as you could have done.
Did you hear about this thing in the news where a girl, it was discovered by her boyfriend that she has 2 vaginas?
What?
This was true in the news. You can Google that. Or, as I like to do, when anyone asks me a stupid question on Twitter, which is every minute I'm on Twitter, most of the questions can be answered. It's usually something stupid like, when do you think Walking Dead is going to come out on DVD? Who cares? But I'm sure you're well aware of the website. Would you like me to Google that for you?
Yes.
Yeah. So would you like me to Google that for you? I do it. If I'm really pissed off, someone asks a really stupid question, I'll do that. Especially if it's a celebrity. I love to fuck with them and do that. But if you Google the woman with 2 vaginas, I guess she was just recently interviewed on television, and her boyfriend, I'm not sure if it's like 2 vaginas, it's actually outside, but there are 2 canals inside of her.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did he figure that out? I mean, like dick.
Yeah.
That's like dick's
No,
spelunking,
her boyfriend figured it out. So she has 2.
She did not know.
She never knew.
And her gynecologist didn't know.
I have no idea.
That's fucking wild. And it clearly didn't have a period.
Yeah. Now, why doesn't she make a fleshlight? Because that would be a really interesting fleshlight. A 2-for-1 deal.
Or a killing. She'd be the first woman to be able to fit 6 cocks into her body at one time.
I was about to say, don't they do those like perspective cameras with like the dick cam, and they go inside the woman?
It's the like lipstick camera. It's basically it's like almost like at the end of a needle. It's very tiny. Yeah, they use that for medical procedures.
They need to get up in her. I mean, she'd be the next hottest thing in porn, I would say.
Yeah,
well, I know, it's like, but like, wasn't it like Matt Stone and Trey Parker? They had some band in LA. It was called, the name of their band was DVDA.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They always give DVDA credits to music on their stuff.
Double vaginal, double anal.
Yep.
There we are.
So now it's going to be what?
Quadruple vaginal, double anal.
QVDA.
Who knows? That's but yeah. So yeah, look that up.
That's actually kind of fascinating. I might have to later.
That's all
right.
Or it's the luckiest guy in the world. Oh, this is my girlfriend. She has the magic double vagina. Now, if you heard this news story, then you probably might have been as shocked as I am. The girl with 2 vaginas, but also sounds like an indie movie that would be at Sundance. Actually, the girl with 2 vaginas. In any case, never encountered anything like that in my time. Although I will say, I dated a girl in college who was Russian, and she had these very interesting. It's a true story. I had these interesting nipples that were inward. They were innies. They were like a belly button. She had like 2 belly buttons on the end of her breasts, and they would pop out when she was aroused. But they were. It was the strangest thing. I've never seen anything like that since. But I thought that was that's the closest I've come to a girl with 2 vaginas. Was a girl with innie nipples. Okay, back to Tower of Sour. And if you thought that was bad, it just gets far worse.
Back for some local news here on the Tower of Sour. We've had some ongoing scandal here in the D.C. area, and it's come to a head with the capture of the notorious D.C. butt slasher. That's right. Your asses are now safe, mall goers of D.C., Virginia, and Maryland. The D.C. butt slasher has been caught.
Thank God.
This is one of the weirder, funnier local stories in the history of life, because the same the same radio station that says the commercial that IDs that they've won the Edward R. Murrow Radio Broadcasting Award every year in a row since like 1988 follows that up with the apprehension of the DC butt slasher. Oh shit! You do not realize the irony of your own life. Alrighty, so let's go over some of the details of the case. Mike, you got those in front of you.
Yeah, yeah, I got some. Do you have it in front of you as well?
No, but I can set it up a little bit.
I mean, I got it. I'll run it through. I
Well,
mean, this was your region. So, what was
yeah,
the buzz surrounding the butt slasher?
the buzz surrounding the butt slasher at first was people. It was like breaking news. Don't go to Forever 21 or any of like the super girly like Bebe or Juicy Couture, but particularly Forever 21. Don't go there because the dude was hanging out there and stabbing people's asses, and not just stabbing them, like bottom of the cheek to the top of the cheek, top of the cheek to the bottom of the cheek, like slashing asses.
And this is man towards women. There were no men
No,
were harmed
there,
in the.
no, it was all women. They thought it was a guy. They pretty sure they had an idea of who it was on camera a couple times, and they just were not able to catch him. And like every fucking day, I swear to God, another slashing at another mall in the DC area, and they were all like women that were like 18 to like their 30s and shit. It
Also,
was
but like,
So
if you think
chicks
about
are
it,
probably pretty nice asses.
yeah, pretty attractive women.
well,
Stuff like
I mean, you got to think about this. This guy is like the worst supervillain ever. Because I don't know what his name is, but there's not you're not gonna get a good supervillain name when you're the butt slasher. And obviously, the guy's mentally deranged. There's no monetary upside to it. He's not killing anybody, but he's clearly, I mean, and he's not even grabbing the butts. He's slashing them. I
Yes.
mean, I don't know,
Right.
like
He's
it's horrifying to me because I'm thinking like as someone who is I'll be honest, I am a butt man. I do like the butt. I think there are more things you can do with it. With all due respect to tits, I think butts are better because there's just
Agreed.
you have more options if you hear what I'm saying.
And they're
Yes.
usually the tits they're so fucking fake these days. You don't even know what you get. At least with the butts, it's like the last stronghold of real flesh. If you will. I mean, you can get butt implants, but they're abundantly obvious and not so common just yet. So for now, the butt is the last thing that we can grab that's real.
Right now, he clearly must have been dissed by some girl. There's got to be a girl at the heart of this that
Wait,
that
all right.
that broke his heart, and
So-
you know what I mean. But this guy was messed up. This is a messed up dude.
So we're gonna
Well, let's talk. Yeah.
What we're gonna do is
Let's talk facts.
All right. Okay.
Let's talk facts. Okay. This guy was going after like 18 to 30-year-old women. He was, for example, Forever 21 at the Fair Oaks Mall at 5:30 p.m. on a Monday.
3 miles from my house.
Okay. The girl's testimony said that she suddenly felt a sharp pain in her butt and thought she might have been struck by a clothes hanger before she realized she had been cut through her denim shorts with a box cutter razor.
Ah.
So what I've gathered is the consistency of this guy's move is he basically knocks over a chunk of clothes on the floor behind a girl, and she's like, oh, she gets distracted, she sees it, glances, looks back at whatever the fuck she's looking at to waste money on, and in his like move to quote pick shit up, he gets his face up near their butt and just like yeah with the fucking razor right in the ass.
Get it.
When I first read about this, I thought he went straight for the butthole and tore outward. No,
God.
he goes, which is terrible. But it turns out he just goes for the cheek.
Yeah,
Okay.
what's wrong with you?
And I don't know. It just when I hear butt slash, I'm like, man, he really ruined these girls' lives. No, he just puts a cut on the butt.
That would be a butt ruiner. So let's criminal minds it a little bit. What's the psychological profile on this guy? What do you think? Is it a sexual thing? Does he feel like he's kind of like jerking off, and then right as he's about to release, that's when he does his move and stabs? It's like, is that?
Or does he do this butt slashing and then go home and jerk off to it later with the razor in his other hand?
Oh God.
Is he an instant gratification guy, or is he a well thought out, go home and think about it later type of guy?
I don't know. I think he's the type of guy that would actually make his own homemade fleshlight. I think that he strikes me as that kind. I mean, like clearly deranged. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I couldn't even get into the mind of someone who would do something like that. He's basically disfiguring the best, the second best part, if not maybe the number one best part of a woman.
So what you're saying is this crime is so atrocious to you that it completely boggles your mind to where you can't even understand.
I can't even understand. It's like, okay, I could understand this is someone and blah, blah, blah. You hear like any sort of like of those crime procedurals on TV. Okay, the motivation was revenge or it was this. This guy is messed up. There's nothing. I mean, like I say, he's disfiguring the second or number one best part of a woman.
So what's his beef with butts, you think?
I don't know. I don't know. But this kind of thing also is the kind of thing that bugs me when you see there's so many like films and biographies and things that focus on people who've done fucked up shit like this. Like
Right.
there was that movie with Hayden Christensen years ago where he played the guy. The guy.
The guy that lied about all those news stories.
That lied and made up all these stories and did all this, and it's like. The thing that bugs me about that is that, like, hey, that guy's going to get a lot of mileage out of having a big Hollywood movie made about his stupid, effed up life and how he tricked all these people. And sure, it's a great role. It's probably the best thing that Hayden Christensen's done. I don't know if you've seen the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I saw that movie because
I'm about to say that doesn't mean very much to say that.
Yeah, the guy that committed that crime's from Northern Virginia too.
But the thing is that this guy has this big budget Hollywood movie made about his life not too long after the fact after that thing happened, and he's an asshole. So yeah. I guess the thing that bugs me is whether I'm like seeing some new stupid reality show or something going on. All these things are built around people who are pricks, and it ends up being a way that they cash in. Although there are laws to curb that, they in some way cash in. But the one thing you can't stop them from cashing in on is the fame that is derived from those things getting not only the publicity, but getting the TV movie of the week, or I guess they don't really do TV movies of the week anymore, but they do those like
Lifetime movies.
Those Lifetime movies, and there is a certain cachet that's gotten from the fame from those. So this guy is another in a line of idiots where I just wish they would go away. And the one thing is the victims are smart enough to look, they want to remain anonymous, but how many serial killers have become, stars and celebrities and stuff? It really is a comment on culture that these guys are idiots, that these idiots get this much play.
How do you think this guy should get the death penalty for slashing butts?
I think he should be left in a room with some women that might have issues with men, and then maybe those women can work that out, and they can take out some abuse on his ass.
Have you ever seen Sympathy for Lady Vengeance?
No, I've not seen that.
Basically, like the short piece that I was isolating is some guy commits these crimes, rapes all these children, and this lady gathers all the families of these children and puts them in a room and lets them decide the fate of said perpetrator. So
it's fucking amazing.
Maybe we take all the women whose butts have been slashed, put them in a room, and let them decide the fate of butt slasher.
I think they should, but also how serious were the injuries? It says that he used like a box cutter.
So maybe the physical injuries weren't extremely bad, but maybe the psychological injuries are substantial. Because I imagine if you're shopping at Forever 21 and suddenly your butt has a new hole in it that you did not show up there with, you might have a problem going out for a long time. I need Xanax just to go to the fucking gas station. So, I couldn't imagine my butthole being carved open at a shopping mall. I'd never go outside again.
Oh my God. Yeah, but I really find it offensive and distasteful when anyone who's done a heinous crime like that is elevated to the level of some sort of celebrity.
So you're not going to like it when Lifetime releases, Pain in My Ass, Life After the Butt Slasher, an original Lifetime movie?
I'm not going to be a fan of that. Okay, so sometimes I run into people in public, which I did at WonderCon actually, and they said, "Oh, I listen to your podcast. I've listened to every episode of your podcast. When are you doing more?" And I always have to pause, look at the person who's telling me that they listen to PodCRASH, and think to myself, what have I done? What have I done to them? I've assaulted them with this bizarre conversations like the butt slasher. So I mean, yes, it was I don't know if it was a national news story, but it was definitely a local news story for the Tower Sour guys. I always think I'm kind of in some ways embarrassed. I love doing the show, but when I meet someone who's a regular listener of PodCRASH, I think to myself, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So I'll apologize in advance for the rest of the conversation. I hope it's at least entertaining.
I got a little bit of a story to tell, and you just mentioned it briefly and on Goebel's podcast where
Yes.
long ago when you were doing film stuff, people just kind of thought you might be gay or just assumed
right.
that's come up before. And literally the day I listened to that, I went to my cousin's concert. Like, the kid plays in a jazz band, so we're all showing up to support the kid. And my Filipino grandmother, who is 80 years old, is there. And I don't really see her that much anymore. And when I do, I don't have a woman there. And so she's always asking about a girlfriend, and I don't really like having girlfriends. So how do you explain that to your grandma? So it never comes up. So anyways, we're there at this jazz concert. My whole family's lined up. I got my sister and my cousin on my left, my little younger cousin's on my right, and my grandma, as the lights are starting to go down, she goes, "Michael, how come you not bring your girlfriend?" And I go, well, Grandma, and it's really quiet. The lights are starting to go down. Well, that's because I don't have a girlfriend. Oh, you don't have a girlfriend? Okay, now it's really silent. You have boyfriend? Like, oh, shit! Then the lights come on, and all right, ladies and gentlemen, in the Marshall High School 4.
Nice.
Like, oh God! So now I'm
But
sitting
what you I mean, she asked you if you had a girlfriend. Did you show her your box of your little tube of Stack's potato chips?
Hey, yeah,
Because that's
I got my girlfriend here.
I got my girlfriend right here.
It's right here, Grandma.
Well, you have a different you must have a different issue.
You haven't met Stacky?
You haven't met Stacky? No. Let me just tell you something. My girlfriend's really stacked.
Yeah, no,
Okay, that one's awful.
This is for, like, I'm 27 and I don't have a great grandchild to present her yet, so she's starting to look at me like, oh, is he a little
Well,
you know what I mean?
let me ask a question then. Well, how old are you?
27.
All right. Well, yeah. So you're just having fun. I mean, you're boning chicks, right?
Yes.
So what's
Like,
the big deal? Why don't you just
how do
shut
you-
them up or bring one of them, but bring like a girl who's a real whore, a real slut. And
Like, can I go to backpage.com?
Is this this is the deal. Whenever you get in a conversation with like your grandmother like that, you want to give her something to do. And it's the thing is like when and I find this also, I found this with girlfriends that I've had, when they ask, hey, can I help you with so and so this, and usually like they just want something to do. It's like, it'd really help me out if you did so and so. Oh, great, then they get to do something. So if you brought a girl around and she's terrible, then she gets to complain about the girl. But otherwise, this is going to. You're 27, you're playing around with girls, you don't want a girlfriend, you don't want the hassle of it. Believe me, I've gone through periods in my life where that's the case. But you have a different problem than I do. Like I'll make comments on Attack of the Show intended to just be goofy, And so
Chris, he's got a lot more different problems than you do. A lot more. Much more than Grandma saying.
Yeah, Grandma's saying that's different than me. Like, look, I pretty much like I'm happier with a girlfriend than without being.
Yeah, this is more like
LA, but
it's like a tribal kind of like, are you going to present the child to us soon?
Mike's go-to resolution to this is to find a woman on Backpage and pay her $100 to just come to the family dinner.
That is what I was thinking. Like, maybe I could just go to Backpage and like get a really pretty escort who's sociable.
Yeah, really pretty. You're definitely gonna find a pretty woman on Backpage.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe just quash it and bring a hooker.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I've never. I mean, I'm a guy that's like I'm pretty much. Awesome. I'm in a relationship more often than I'm not in a relationship, so I've never had that. I've never had my family bug me about that kind of stuff. So you have a different issue. I think that you got to nip that family thing in the bud. And because the thing is, it also doesn't matter, like especially with Asian, when you've got like an Asian grandmother, right?
Yes, absolutely, and fucking 5 aunts like that are just like, so I mean, what's up with?
All I can say is they're rough, man. They're rough.
So what you're saying is you've got a You've got a long-term problem because your Asian grandma is going to live a long time.
As someone who has dated the Asians, I have dipped into the Asian well, and let me just say that the extended family, they are tough. They will hate you no matter what. I'm coming in from the outside, but I know that they are. There's quite a lot that's expected of you. And at 27, you're getting into your late 20s.
Not of Mike's family.
Now wait, so you don't want? So the reason you don't want a girlfriend is you don't want to have to deal with her? You don't like the part where they talk?
No, it's not that. I'm good with that kind of stuff, but it's more just like.
Well, I was just gonna say, if she's gonna talk, why don't you just put your cock in her mouth? I mean, that kind of solves that, right?
That's the go-to move. But when that's over, I think Mike has a serious problem with girls that have major issues that he can't bring around family. Am I right, Mike?
Okay, you know what? Here we go. Let's just fucking get into it. I am into damaged women. There it is. Period. Paragraph. And I can't. Can
I say, first of all, as a veteran as a long veteran of many experiences with damaged women, dude, it's hell. It's freaking hell. Let me just say, as someone who's dated several suicide girls, they're hell, man. They're as damaged as they come, and boy, oh my god.
And now it's like I just person. It's like I just envision what they look like yelling at me. That's really what it is.
And you can't just slap a suicide girl sticker on one of their damages and act like it didn't happen.
Right. Like
you can't there's no easy fix.
Yeah, callback.
Yeah, no, it definitely worked with my car. The suicide girl sticker fixed my car.
But you don't fuck your car.
Okay, so getting double teamed by Mike Sens and Mike Marlowe on Tower Sour has to be the most awkward appearance for me ever on a podcast, and that's saying something. You know, initially when I first did it and first finished that podcast, I thought I will never do something like that again. That was horrible. That was the worst show I've ever been on. It was terrible. It was awful. And now listening back on it, it actually was really good. It was funny. I have to give those guys credit for making me feel awkward. That's my job. They crashed me. So I got to thank those guys. The podcast is Tower of Sour. You can follow them on Twitter at Tower of Sour. And they're on Facebook. Look them up on Facebook and iTunes and all that. Tower of Sour, Mike Sands, Mike Marlowe. You guys did a good job. In retrospect now, me feeling awkward and embarrassed actually turned out to be entertaining. Not as much for me, but for everybody else. Real quick, I forgot, doing a stand-up show, a sweet stand-up at M Bar Thursday, April 5th. That's with Bill Dwyer and the great Eli Braden, 1253 Vine Street if you live in Los Angeles. And some of you have asked, I actually will do stand-up wherever. If I'm invited out of town, I will do stand-up. For right now, I'm just doing places in L.A., building up to something, which I'll tell you all about later. So that's our show for this week. Continue to listen to PodCRASH. You can find it on iTunes. Leave us a good review if you like the show. Give us 5 stars if you think we deserve it. And I read all the reviews on there. So leave one there. You can follow the show at PodCRASH Show. You can follow me at That Chris Gore, and like our Facebook fan page, facebook.com/PodCRASH. That's it for this week. Gotta say, I was crashed, so that was a different experience. The most awkward in PodCRASH history. So that's it. And I like to say the final thing, my final words for every show. You know what it is. It's just a simple, let's get out of here.
You know, you did a good job in there, man. Thank you. Did you ever see that movie, Clash of the Titans?
Oh, with the Greek mythology stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like a queer or nothing, but I think unicorns are kick-ass. Hey! Can I get everyone together for a few photos?
Photos for what?
Just some stills for publicity. You know, I don't want to sound like a queer or nothing, but I'm really going to miss you guys when the show's over.
Ben, do you think people will see this video in Utah?
I wouldn't worry about it, dude. So many of these movies get made every month, nobody's even gonna notice.
Say, Geddy Lee.
Who's Geddy Lee?
Geddy Lee, best bass player ever. Come on. Hey, Orgasmo.
I'm not Orgasmo, okay? You seen Mr. Orbison?
Oh, yeah, I think he's over there someplace or something. Hey, what do you think of this band?
Fine.
Yeah, I think they kind of sound like Depeche Mode. You know, I don't want to sound like a queer or nothing, but I think Depeche Mode is a sweet band.
That's nice, dude.
Hey, is that a new costume, Joe?
No, I think it's the same one we've always used.
You know, I don't want to sound like a queer or nothing, but I think you've got a really nice ass.
Thanks.
Sure, dude. Oh, hey, Joe.
Oh, hi, Dave.
You know, you did a good job in there today, man.
Thanks. Thanks, man.
Now, I don't want to sound like a queer or nothing, but I'd kind of like to make love to you tonight.
Hey, if you're still listening to this, you're probably a lot like me. You're the kind of person that stays at the end of the movie and watches all the credits. I like you. For that, you shall be rewarded. If you send a self-addressed stamped envelope to PodCRASH with that Chris Gore, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California 90036, I will return your self-addressed stamped envelope with a little gift. Something small, something simple, something free. And if you continue listening, there's just a little tiny little audio left from the Tower of Sour podcast that you might be entertained to hear. Later. So wait a sec. So did you do the turkey drop?
The turkey drop you're talking about on the holiday?
You have to break up with a girl before Thanksgiving, because if not, you're stuck with them through Valentine's Day.